Hello everyone. How are you all? Children, welcome back to SST class. How was the festive occasion yesterday? All enjoyed a lot. Yes, I know. Yes, so today's date is August 4, 2020. And in recap, we shall see what is history. I'll explain you chapter number 1, how, where and when, and how these terms are important to know history. And in assignment today you have to read the chapter and find out new words and their meanings. Summary for today will be: history is about changes that occur over a time. Okay, dear children? So, let's go for the chapter. So, children, we shall be starting today chapter number 1 of history. Children, history is the study of past events and it is much more than memorizing dates. Don't have to memorize only the dates, but events in the past are very fascinating and interesting. If one takes it like a story, it is really very wonderful to read or listen. So in this lesson, we will learn how did it happen, when did it happen, and where did it happen. That's why the title of the chapter is how, when, and where. Okay, dear children? So, in short form, what is history? History is events, places, dates, names, learning new facts. Okay, dear children? Now, we will see what is actually history. Meaning of history. History is about changes that occur over time. What happened yesterday? What happened day before yesterday? What happened last week? Last month? Okay? All these things become history. If you take examples from the present, okay, for the last few months, everything has become a history for us, okay. Our posterity will read it as a history. How corona came to India, okay, how Rafale was acquired by India, what relations were there of China with Asian countries and America. So this is all going to be history when we will move forward. Okay, dear children? So history is changes that occur over the time. Finding how things were in the past and how things have changed. Children, if you see this diagram over here, this was the first front piece, or you can say to the first map produced by James Renal in 1782. This was an offering, okay, to Shastras to Britannica. Okay, Renal was asked by Robert Clive to produce maps of Hindustan, an enthusiastic supporter of British conquest of India. Renal saw preparation of maps as essential to the process of domination. You might know, Britishers came to India in the Mughal period, but at that time their aim was only for the trade. But gradually, after Aurangzeb and Bahadur Shah Zafar, the last rulers of the Mughal Empire, you have read all this in 7th grade. So, these Britishers aimed to settle down in India, and they did so. So this Renal helped them in making maps, okay, so how they can start their process of domination. So this this diagram over here shows how the caste system prevailed in our country in the earlier times. The Brahmins, that you know, priests, okay, who used to teach people, okay, they were at the topmost. Then Kshatriyas, warriors or the kings. Then Vaishyas, all business community, merchants, okay, shopkeepers and all. So this was based on the occupation they did, okay. And Shudras, the servants, subordinate to Vaishyas, okay, Kshatriyas and Brahmins. And just below to them were the Dalits. You might have heard this name, okay, untouchables. Do all the lower order work to subordinate to all Brahmins, Kshatriyas and Vaishyas. Okay, dear children. But now such castes are not there. Our caste is determined by the birth. Okay, dear children. So James Renal understood. So he was born on December 3, 1742 in England and died on March 29, 1830. He was the leading British geographer of his time and he constructed the first nearly accurate map of India. He only was the man to do so. He joined East India Company. You know East India Company? Yes, that was the company that was settled here for the trade and commerce with India. And he became the Surveyor General of Bengal in 1764. Now Britannica East India Company, okay, English company formed for the exploitation of trade with East and Southeast Asia and India. If somebody asks you what is East India Company, then you should know that was the company formed to exploit trade with East and Southeast Asia and India, incorporated by Royal Charter on December 31, 1600. This 17th century begins, okay. Started as a monopolistic trading body, the company became involved in politics and acted as an agent of British imperialism in India from the early 18th century to mid 19th century. And the activities of the company in China in the 19th century also served as a catalyst for the expansion of British influence there. Wherever Britishers wanted to settle down and have their influence, they began to form this company first of all there. So this is East India Company. Understood, dear children? Now if you look at this picture very carefully, you might see, yes, this image can be found in several illustrated books produced by the British after 1857 rebellion. You know children, 1857 was the first independence revolt of India. Okay, the captain at the bottom says, mutinous sepoys share the loot. Okay, he's giving the order. In British representations, the rebels appear as greedy, vicious and brutal. Now we will read about this 1857 revolt in chapter number 5. Okay, dear children. Now let's see what history is referred to span of time. What is history? A span of time. We cannot determine a specific date when British rule was started, as it happened over a span of time. It is not a one-day story or a few events story, dear. It is a span of time that Britishers spent over here, and all events in one are called British history in India. So we cannot determine a specific date when British rule was started, as it happened over a span of time. Similarly, we developed a taste of drinking tea. If you can see this image given in your book, okay, Lipton tea. So this is the advertisement since long in our country. How many of you like Lipton tea? Yes. So our old advertisements help us to understand how markets for new products were created and new tastes were popularized. This 1922, this advertisement was in 1922. Advertisement for Lipton tea suggests that royalty over the world is associated with this tea. In the background, you see the outer wall of an Indian palace, while in the foreground, seated on horseback, is the third son of Queen Victoria of Britain. Okay, this man sitting on this horse is, yes, he's the third son of Queen Victoria of Britain, Prince Arthur, who was given the title Duke of Connaught. Okay, dear children. So these all advertisement help us to understand the markets at that time. Now history is really very important to know the present. Okay. So past versus present state of history. Earlier history was associated with string of dates only. This was because history used to keep a track of battles and big events. At present, history is a wider concept which includes how and what concepts. Because now we have a mindset of different things to take in, okay? For example, how people earned their livelihood, what did they produce and eat, etc. Many things are there. Now, what should be the criteria to select a set of dates? Dates become more important when we assume that a particular set of events are important. Then only we can take the dates and mention them. Most of the history in India was written by British historians. Remember, children? And these historians, I'm talking about, yes, the modern history. These historians started writing with the rule of first Governor General Warren Hastings. There can be an important question: who was the first Governor General of India during the British Empire? He was Warren Hastings. And ended with the last Viceroy, Lord Mountbatten, okay, with whom Pandit Nehru and Muhammad Ali Jinnah made, you can say, the plan for the partition of India and Pakistan. When India got freedom, this Lord Mountbatten, he was the Viceroy of India. That's why his name is to be mentioned. Okay, now let's know more about Warren Hastings. He became the first Governor General of India in 1773. Remember, children, Warren Hastings was a competent, honorable, and a far-sighted administrator whose policies, while some controversial, decisively shaped and stabilized future Anglo-Indian relation. Okay, that means India and England. The controversy surrounding his administration made him the subject of impeachment and trial in Great Britain. Okay. Now let's see what should be the criteria to periodize. In 1817, a Scottish economist and a political philosopher named James Mill published a book, History of British India. James Mill, famous writer, okay. In his book, the Indian history is divided into three periods: Hindu, Muslim and British, because these three categories had great influence in our country. All the events revolved around all three of them. These Hindu, Muslim, and British. So prior to British rule, before Britishers took over India, there were Hindu and Muslims only in the country who used to exploit India. Like today also you can see we have majorly two groups, the Hindus, okay, in which all communities come, and other is Muslim. Furthermore, India strongly believed in caste system, multiple religious superstitions. That's why secularism was acquired and made a compulsion in the country or in the constitution. Now, James Mill felt that only British rule could civilize India and teach them manners, arts, and laws. This was the thought by James Mill. But though it is true, because every coin has two sides, we learnt many things from the Britishers, but even then we had many disadvantages from them. Okay, dear children? So, it happens. Now, Indian history classification you can see can be categorized in three ways. The ancient history, okay, 4000 BC and AD, you know, okay, before Christ, and Anno Domini, okay, 500. So this was a, remember children, this is the ancient history. Then we talk about medieval history. So it started from where this ended, 500 AD, okay. BC was an ancient history, 500 AD to 1500. Then modern history starts from 1500 till present, whatever is there, okay. So can you see this picture over here which shows this? In ancient we were less acknowledged and lack of knowledge was there, and we were learning in the you can say primary manner. But in medieval, when people learnt many things, kings and all, they flourished, and the modern history is associated with all technology and all, okay. Gradually man progresses as he enters to a new age, okay. Now children, time notation is also very important while reading history. The terms Anno Domini and before Christ BC are used to label or number years in the Julian and the Gregorian calendars. The term Anno Domini AD is medieval Latin and means in the year of the Lord, okay. In the year of the Lord, that means Lord Jesus Christ, when he was born, okay. So after his birth, all things are concluded as Anno Domini, and BC means before he was born. The term before Christ BC, an epoch used in dating years prior to the estimated birth of Jesus Christ. Children, you know na history. I have told you how Jesus was born. Okay, when I have time I will share again. Okay, dear children. Yes. So see this diagram how it is. Okay. Yes. Understood, dear children? Yes. This goes in minus and this goes in plus. Yes. Now modern period changed to colonial. How modern period is related to the growth of all the forces of the modernism. But under the British rule, people were not getting modernized. Therefore, the name changed to colonial period, when we were colonized by the Britishers. That's why this period is called colonial period. When the subjection of one country by another, what is colonial? Yes, when the subjection of one country by another leads to political, economic, social and cultural changes. This is the process of colonization that Britishers did with many countries. Okay. Now we will see what are the sources of writing history. Sources that historians use in writing about last 250 years on Indian history includes Official records of the British administration. For British, the act of writing was crucial. So every plan, policy, agreement was in writing. This led to administrative culture of memos, noting and reports. Children, noting is very important, okay? It helps you a lot when you memorize anything. That's why I have told you how to make notes. Whenever you listen something, read something, please try to make your notes. Now, British also kept all the documents preserved in the record room, which was attached to all administrative institutions. Moreover, these documents were written by calligraphists, okay, one who writes with a good handwriting and all, whose writing is important. So they are called calligraphists, who specialized in the art of beautiful writing. Sources of writing history. National Archives of India at Delhi. Okay, important to note, it is in Delhi. It was established in 1920s. It is a record room where all documents and letters from the government and various administration have arranged as per dates from 18th century and are preserved in a very good condition. Okay, dear children. Sources of writing history concludes conducting surveys. Conducting surveys was common under the colonial administration. The British believed that the country had to be properly known before it could be effectively administered, because they had to live here and they have to govern here. So they went on and they did it all. Okay, so there are records for that. By the early 19th century, detailed surveys were being carried out to the map of the entire country. For example, forest surveys was there, geological surveys, etc. Now, what official records do not tell? See, these official records are a great source to tell us the history of the colonial period. But what official records do not tell us? Records do not tell what other people in the country felt, because it was written by the Britishers. Why they will tell us how people felt, how people were in adverse condition or good conditions, okay? And only diaries of people, travelers, autobiographies of important personalities can tell about literate people. No record of the history is available for the tribal, peasants, workers, or the poor. Understood, dear children? Hope now chapter is clear to all. I request all of you to read it once and find out tough words and their meanings. Okay, dear children?